building an audience on YouTube is one of the best things that you can do for your business. But there are 5 common mistakes that could be costing you clients. And these are simple mistakes, but they could be costing you thousands of dollars. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly what they are and how you can fix them. And this first one is probably the most simple, but it's also the most effective way to get more views in your video. One of the most common problems I see with new YouTubers is bad packaging. So to show how effective good packaging is, so I was working with this client and he had been uploading for about 5 months. And so far, his most popular video was this video, which had 345 views. But our very first video working together, and the only thing I did was work on the title and thumbnail, got 1,500 views. And there was another channel that I was working with where we uploaded a video, and after a day, the video was stuck at about 200 views. We changed the title and thumbnail, and then the same video now is sitting at over 600,000 views without changing any of the content. So titles and thumbnails are one of the most important things for your YouTube videos. And here are a couple of things that bad thumbnails will actually do to you and your business. So first of all, it hurts your credibility. It hurts your overall brand. And if you have a bad title and thumbnail, if you're spending a lot of money putting production into these videos and making them good, if you do all that, but you have a bad title and thumbnail, no one clicks on it, and therefore none of the work that you put in actually matters because no one's going to see it. All right, to show how important this is, I have an example. So here we have a Louis Vuitton bag, and I looked up, and this specific bag is worth $2,100, which I think is a little bit crazy. But I was looking to see what does the inside of a Louis Vuitton store look like where you might buy something like this. So I'll zoom in here. So this is what the store looks like when you go in. Now, it looks very expensive. It looks like everything is luxury. So what this does is it kind of frames the product that's inside of it. So when you go in and you look at this, you're like, oh, I could see how that bag is worth $2,100. Now, on the other side of the spectrum with bad framing, or I guess less expensive framing, we have Walmart. Let me zoom out here. So Walmart, if you go to the Walmart aisle where they have a bunch of purses, you can see most of these range anywhere from $7 to $11. So obviously a lot of these are, you can see that they're commodities, that they're not really that valuable, and they're just a whole lot cheaper. And part of the reason of that is because of the framing of it. And your thumbnails are kind of the same way. So if you have a service or you have a product that's really expensive, then your titles and thumbnails need to reflect that. Like there was one guy that I found on YouTube, and he was making over $100,000 a month from his agency. But when I looked at his YouTube channel, his thumbnails were just honestly kind of terrible, to the point where I honestly wasn't sure if he was making $100,000 a month, because I'm like, surely if this guy has this kind of money, then his thumbnails would look better than that. So it really can hurt your credibility. And that's why, especially if you're selling a high ticket service, you need to have professional looking titles and thumbnails. Now, there's a couple of common mistakes that I see with thumbnails. So the first, and I think this is probably the most common, is there are just too many things going on. So a good rule of thumb, and a lot of thumbnail artists follow this, is using the rule of 3. That means taking your thumbnail and constraining it to 3 main objects. And usually that's a face, an object, and a little bit of text. And what that does is it just simplifies your thumbnail overall and makes it more clickable on the homepage. Now, the second one, which I also see is super common, is just having low quality images. So whether that's your headshot or the background, or just having clip art or different images on your thumbnail that make it look low quality, that's going to make your perceived value a whole lot less. So instead, you want to make sure if you're taking headshots that you're actually taking pictures in good lighting with high resolution so that they look professional. Number 3 is just using too many colors. One simple way you can do it is just use either complementary colors or just using 3 main colors. And then number 4 is not making people curious enough to click. Now, this is more psychology rather than design of the thumbnail, but you want to put a question in your viewer's mind, and then the only way that they can get the answer to it is by clicking on your video. And if you're making thumbnails and you just don't know where to start, one of the things I recommend for basically everyone is you need to create a swipe file. Basically what that is anytime you see a thumbnail that's either high performing or one that you really like, you want to add it to your swipe file. So this, you could either save it or you could add it like I do to a YouTube playlist. So you can see these are different videos that I found the thumbnails really good, and you want to take not only from your niche, but also from other niches. So when you're making a thumbnail, you're not starting from scratch. You already have found some successful thumbnails that you can take inspiration from. All right, so that's packaging, and if you can get that right, your views will go up. But unfortunately, just getting views on YouTube is not always the best plan. And here's why. The second common mistake that could be losing you customers is chasing views. You probably know who this guy is. He's Alex Hormozi. He's been big in the YouTube world for quite a while now. And he had a little bit of a shift in terms of his YouTube strategy. So when he started out on the platform, he was making purely just business content. But as people learned about him, really got to know him, his personality, then he started branching out and making other kinds of content, like health content, working out, relationships, everything like that. And honestly, it kind of makes sense because he's like, okay, the people that follow me are probably interested in these other things, so let me make content about that. But what he found was he was actually losing a lot of his target audience because the videos that he was making weren't relevant to them anymore. So from there, he went from making all these different kinds of content to only making business content again. You know what the result was? The result was less views overall at first, but he was getting more book sales, more opt-ins, and then more views from his actual target audience. So instead of just trying to get views on YouTube, what should you be doing? Well, that brings us to number 3. The third common mistake is not making customer-centered content. Now, this is super important if you run a business. So one of the things I always think about when I'm making content is I ask myself, what's in it for them? Now, in the macro and in the micro, here's kind of how you can think about it. So you have your ideal customer, you have your target audience, and then in the macro, they have a dream outcome. So what is the thing that they are trying to achieve overall? And then on the road to get there, there's a lot of different problems that they're going to have to overcome along the way. And then in the micro, they have more specific dream outcomes that they're trying to do. So these would be kind of your individual videos. So you want to show, okay, here's the dream outcome that you want. Here's where you are right now. Here are the couple problems you need to overcome, and I'm going to help you do that. So your goal with all this is you want to make content that your audience will love to watch. So here's a couple questions that I think about. Is you want to think about your target audience, ask yourself, what are their goals, dreams, ambitions? And then on the negative side, what are their pains, fears, problems, questions, and objection? And all of that is going to inform the content that you're going to make. So basically, you want to help them get their dream outcome before they even pay you. You want to solve their problems, answer their questions, empathize with their pains, and you want to listen to their concerns. And if you do that, not only is your audience going to love you, but they're also more likely to buy from you because you've already helped them solve problems in the past. Okay, this next one is probably the biggest gold mine that you could be sitting on if you have a business and you're on YouTube. Number 4 is not sharing your proof. Alex Hormozi said, everyone can make the same promise, but no one can have the same proof. So if you really want to stand out on YouTube and show that you are a thought leader, that show that you're credible, you want to make sure that you're sharing your proof. So I was on a call with a guy named Tim Forkin, and he runs a channel called Hey Creator. Now, when I was looking at the channel and watching some of the videos, they had super valuable information on there. But there was one question that kept coming up in my mind. And the question was, why should I listen to you? And I can assure you, when someone watches your channel for the first time, they're probably asking themselves the same question. Why should I listen to you? But your secret weapon is your proof. Now, there are 2 main kinds of proof, and these both can be super effective. So first, you have your personal proof. So this would be things that you've actually accomplished yourself. So like here, we have how I made 20K in 2 days with YouTube. So obviously this guy's done it himself. So that shows that he's credible, that he's done the thing himself. And then a little bit of a throwback, Ali Abdaal made this video 3 years ago, which now has 13 million views, 9 passive income ideas, how I make $27,000 per week. So instantly people know that these guys are credible because they've actually done the thing that they're talking about. And then, especially if you're working with clients, another effective way of showing proof is with client proof. So there's 2 main ways that you can do this, and both are super effective. So first, you have your client interview, and then you also have case studies. So for client interviews, basically you're actually getting on a video call with one of your clients that has got a lot of results, and you want to talk about 3 main things. You want to talk about their life/results before working with you, their experience actually working with you, and then their life/results after working with you. Written testimonials are really effective, but this is like those, but on steroids. And they're so effective because your audience is hearing from a real person saying that you helped them get an awesome result. So client interview, super effective, but you can do this in addition, you can do a case study. And this is where you want to break down the full process and how you help them get the result. Just by making these 2 types of videos, you get people from just watching your videos to actually wanting to work with you. And then really practically, how do you actually use this in your YouTube videos? Well, again, Alex Hormozi has a framework that is super effective for this. So this is called the proof, promise, and plan intro. And basically you want to do this at the beginning of your video. So the proof is either your results, your client's results, and then tie it to why it's relevant to this specific video. The promise, so again, ask what's in it for them. What's the dream outcome of this specific video? And then the plan is you want to tell them how you're going to tell them. And you want to do all that within the very first 20 seconds. All right, so this next mistake might be the most unfortunate, but it's probably the most common of all. Number 5 is giving up before you see results. And honestly, I don't blame people who do this because there are people like Mr. Beast and Alex Hormozi. Mr. Beast getting hundreds of millions of views per video. Alex Hormozi, almost 3 million subscribers, getting a lot of money, lead flow, and everything else through his YouTube channel. And you see that and you're like, okay, this is what I expect. I expect to upload a video, wait a little bit, and then we'll get rich and famous. And unfortunately, that's not always how it works. Because you see, Alex Hormozi was not an overnight success. He actually started his channel 6 years ago and then has consistently been uploading for the last 4 years. And then before that, he had 10 years of business experience before he even started talking about it on YouTube. And then Mr. Beast is an even worse story because he's been uploading for more than 12 years, and on a Joe Rogan podcast, he said he's probably put over 50,000 hours into perfecting the game of YouTube. So he, by no means, is an overnight success. Now, this is very cliche, but I think it does a good job illustrating the path to success on YouTube. This is what most people think it'll be like, and this is the actual path looks like. So you're here, and oftentimes it's not going to be just up and to the right. There's going to be a lot of setbacks, a lot of things that you have to learn along the way. Because at the end of the day, building a following on YouTube does take time, but if you can do it, it'll be one of your business's greatest assets. So if you are a business owner and you're trying to grow on YouTube, where do you start? Well, one of the common questions I get all the time is what kind of videos should I be making? And that's why I made this video where I break down 3 different types of videos that will attract your dream audience and make them more likely to buy from you. All right, that's all I have for you. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments or reach out to me in the descriptions.